directed by Todd Phillips, and it was written by Todd Phillips and Scott Silver, who was responsible for writing such hits as 8 Mile and The Fighter. Joker stars Joaquin Phoenix, Robert De Niro, Francis Conroy, and Zazie Beetz. Joker tells the story of Arthur Fleek, a failed stand-up comedian and clown who has been broken down by the system, is on several types of medication, lives in crime-ravaged Gotham City with his mother, who he looks after, and we see a man who is a loner, who's been worn down by the system, and we see the physical, emotional, and mental abuse that he endures, and how all these traumatic events cause him to change into the Joker. Joker, after Avengers Endgame, was for me one of the most anticipated films that I couldn't wait to see. Purely because we were going to get an origin story of one of the most iconic villains in comic book history. More importantly than that, Joaquin Phoenix, when he signed on, I was like, okay, he's a very, very versatile actor. What will he bring? But more importantly than that, what will he do that will step out of the shadow that Heath Ledger set with his performance? This film, I just saw it with my boy Joe Cobra on YouTube Gaming Channel the other day, and I can easily say that tone-wise, Joker doesn't feel like a comic book film. It is gritty, it is dark, it sets itself apart from other comic book films, and there were times where I had to remind myself that this film was based upon a comic book. Yes, there are nods to the mention of Gotham City, there are nods to Arkham, there are nods to Thomas Wayne and Bruce Wayne, but other than that, this film is a slow-burning character piece which focuses solely on Arthur and his journey to the person that he is to become. And I can tell you something now, this film was just awe-inspiring. This Joker is not a film that is driven by action sequences and visual effects. It's driven by character and the performances. So if you go into this film expecting to see some visual effects or stunts or something like that, you're going to be disappointed. But there is more than enough in this film to keep you engaged. And that is thanks in part to Joaquin Phoenix's performance. He was astonishing in the role of the Joker. He was just incredible, and he did something that not many people could do. He made you feel a variety of emotions. He made you feel sympathy, he made you feel empathy, he made you feel fear, he made you laugh at him, he made you laugh with him. He was just astonishing in the role. He lost considerable amount of weight and it showed, but he was an incredibly versatile actor and he did an amazing job in his performance. And the film Joker, it does draw inspiration from such films as Killing Joke, where there is mention of the Joker's failed attempt at stand-up comedy, but he was just awe-inspiring. Also, I can't knock the performance of Francis Conroy, who plays his mother. The dynamic between these two worked very well, and it made for some touching scenes in the film, in terms of how he's had to look after her, how he's had to bathe her, how he has to take care of her medication and everything like that. It just worked brilliantly. Again, Joaquin Phoenix, his name will be the name that everybody will mention. Because for me, I believe that he's given us a Joker for this generation. This film touched on a variety of issues that makes it so adaptable and relatable to today's times, in terms of mental health, in terms of the little guy, in terms of is it nature versus nurture. And it does give you questions as to who the Joker really is and his background. But what after leaving the cinema, it even made me raise more questions because there were certain things that weren't answered in this film. You can see that this film pays homage to some classic De Niro films. Taxi Driver, i.e. the lone Travis Bickle and the loner Arthur Fleek. The way that Gotham is set in this film, it doesn't feel like Gotham at all. It actually, you'd think it was New York City, which I think is a homage to Scorsese and the films that he set in New York. But tone-wise, it doesn't feel like a comic book film at all. And it is something that is different and it's something that is thoroughly engaging. The iconic Robert De Niro as Murray Franklin, he was just on mesmerizing form. And again, De Niro's roles and choice of roles in the last few years have been a bit hit and miss, but he was absolutely on the money in this film. And you can see that this character was a nod to, again, one of his other iconic roles in The King of Comedy. And the dynamic between him and Joaquin Phoenix's character worked very, very well. And De Niro, I haven't seen him done a role this good in a long time. Also, ZZ Beats. She was in this film as well, and she added what I like to believe would be some humility and some balance to the film. And I'm not going to get too much into her character, but all I can just say is that this film is not a straightforward film. There were twists and turns in this film that you need to keep your wits about you, and it was a film that just kept me gripped from the very get-go, and it left my jaw open with certain scenes and certain parts of the narrative of the film, and I was like, wow, I was not expecting that. And cinematography wise, the way that this film just captures parts of Gotham, the way that it captures certain scenes, the color palette that is utilized in this film, it makes for gorgeous viewing. And the cinematic score for this film, it was just incredible. And I think the way that I can best describe this score is the same way that I would describe the character of Arthur Fleet, which was haunting, sad, broken, and chilling at times. The utilization of the chords, the utilization of the music, it just worked a treat. But I think that I have to give props where props is due to Todd Phillips, the director, because he stepped out of his comedy zone, because we know Todd Phillips, he did films such as Road Trip, he did the Hangover films, he did Due Date. He's known as being a comedy director. To step into the role of a dramatic piece like this is a difficult transition, but he handled it brilliantly. He handled it competently. And whilst Joker is not a comedy as such, there are some dark comedic moments in this film. And they are not misplaced. And they are handled brilliantly. And I'm not going to spoil it for you fans, but the comedy and the comedic moments are in the right place at the right time. And Joaquin Phoenix was a surprise for me, because I thought, you know what, nobody could top Heath Ledger's performance. But he gave a performance that was just as good. And for me, I'm not going to get into a debate about comparing the Jokers that preceded him in terms of Jack Nicholson, in terms of Heath Ledger, because I thoroughly believe that those Jokers were right for the time that they were released. They fit in the time frame. So Jack Nicholson's Joker was quite comical, wasn't as psychotic, but he was right for that time period in the late 80s, where we hadn't seen a comic book villain in a while. Heath Ledger's Joker was right for that time, because we were dealing with terror, we were dealing with escalation, and he represented that. So he was a perfect fit for that time period. But on the whole, Joker, one word, wow. Loved every minute of this film. It kept me gripped from the beginning to the end, and it didn't let go. I feel that with this film, there were certain points that may get missed, and I think that this is a film that may require a second viewing. So I might watch this film again to see if there's any points that I missed in the first time round. But on the whole, incredible. I can't praise this film enough. Loved every minute of it. Great directing, great acting, great cinematic score, great cinematography, a great film. And I will give this film a very, very strong 10 out of 10. And one that should be bought immediately when it is released on DVD. So folks, there you have it. That is my review. Hit that subscribe button, hit the alarm bell, because I'm going to be coming at you with regular film content. Follow my boy Joe Cobra on Joe Cobra YouTube gaming channel. Excellent at what he does. He's really, really good at reviewing video games. Excellent. I love the progression, love the guy, love what he's been doing, and I can't wait to see what he does next. So subscribe to that channel. Also follow Alicia Martin, an excellent actress who's got some great work coming out in the pipeline. And leave your comment with, if you've seen the Joker, what did you think about it? And I shall see you on the next film review. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button. Take care.